not your world has a day-night cycle. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is the Honkai Star Rail version 3.5 special program. I'm your host, Albert. Our three guests today are all renowned figures. So, let's give them a warm welcome.
No need for formalities, dear subjects. The masses have given me many titles, but here, feel free to call me by my name, Cerydra.
I'm Herta. No need for further introductions.
Greetings, dear viewers. I am Screwlum. It's a pleasure to meet you all again.
Once again, a warm welcome to you all. Ooh, oh, Albert is so honored. Not only do we have the peerless gem, unrivaled genius, and inimitable beauty on our show, we've also got a genius symbolizing mechanical aesthetics, humanistic charm, and elegant precision. And even Her Imperial Majesty has graced us with her presence.
If you keep going on like this, Dux Blabator, the audience is going to walk out.
Dux Blabator! Your Imperial Majesty, if I may be so bold, letting the audience know about our important guests is crucial. This is not idle chatter.
Owlbert, just get to the point, okay?
Since this is what our guests unanimously requested, as we enter version 3.5, the second half of the Amphorian story will officially begin. We'll meet brand new companions and witness familiar friends in a completely new light.
Indeed. Besides the already known Chrysos heirs, we also caught glimpses of Lady Cerydra and Lady Hysilens in that trailer. Miss March 7th and Mr. Dan Hung have also undergone quite significant changes.
And that one with pink hair, she looks a lot like that girl named Cyrene? Was that her new form?
I'll keep that under wraps for now. But what I can tell you is that this renewed journey is about to ascend to a higher dimension. At the place where three paths intertwine, a battle of paths that will determine the safety of the cosmos has begun. In version 3.4 story, the Trailblazer made a promise with Finan and took up the mantle of Deliverer. Meanwhile, Finan went to confront Nanook with the most blazing fury.
We now know that Amphorius was a testing ground for the Lord Ravager Iron Tomb to self-extrapolate and grow, while Finan and Cyrene accumulated power through 30 million eternal recurrences to delay the moment of Iron Tomb's true completion.
Even though human strength remains insignificant before the eons, human will shall never be mere pawns for the gods to manipulate at their whim. The fury of 400 million core flames brought forth a destruction as brilliant as a solar flare. Finan's efforts have once again interrupted the progress of Iron Tomb, and at the beginning of version 3.5, we'll discover that even the spread of the Black Tide has been halted.
Oh, so that too was the work of the Deliverer. Finan. I'll remember that name.
But back to the matter at hand. The weight of the world rests on that little one's shoulders, and saving Amphorius remains an unavoidable conundrum.
Before saving the world, there's one more preparation we need to make. The Scepter has an extremely strict autonomous protocol, restricting even its administrator. According to my and Madame Herta's speculation, this ultimate protocol goes by another name in Amphorius. The Law Titan, Talantan.
Exactly! So if we can master the authority of law before the Era Nova is complete, we can find a new breakthrough and turn the tables in our favor.
According to Amphorian history, the core flame of law was returned a millennium ago. The Trailblazers' mission is therefore clear. Anchor to a time before the core flame's return, travel back to the past, and claim the core flame.
In version 3.5's Trailblaze mission, the Trailblazer will journey alongside Cyrene to Akama from 1,000 years ago in a new cycle of the eternal recurrence. That was also the era when Aglaya's predecessors still held power. The bearer of the Law Core Flame and Empress of Akama, the Imperator Cerydra.
Then, you are all targeting me? What makes you so sure I will cooperate with the Trailblazer without any reservations?
I wouldn't say they're targeting you. Someone as brilliant and mighty as yourself surely understands that the Trailblazer is working towards a brighter future for Amphorius. In version 3.5, the Trailblazer will not only meet the Knight Commander Hysilens and Imperator Cerydra while revisiting the past, but they'll also encounter Treeby and Aglaya from a millennium ago. We hope you're looking forward to this first meeting and reunion.
I believe the Trailblazer will win everyone's trust with their sincerity, as always.
Moreover, in version 3.5, we'll get to see another side of Styxia as the city of infinite revelry. Legend has it that in the coastal city-state, encircled by rainbows and ocean currents, the festivities never cease. People indulge in endlessly refilled honey brews while music flows without pause through every hour of the day.
But those residents in the city don't look too friendly, do they? Better watch out.
Don't be so quick to celebrate. And don't think you can just brush this off. This involves the core flame of law. Do you really think it'll be that easy?
Indeed. Since it concerns the ultimate protocol, that old Intellitron will definitely pay extra attention. He's very likely to step in and personally intervene.
That is no longer just a possibility. The Theoros Ligus has recently arrived at the Holy City and already sought an audience with me. As for what he said, it was interesting, to say the least.
Going from an observer to an interventionist is quite the unusual shift. While it shows his plans have been seriously impacted and need urgent revision, it also means the Trailblazer will face even tougher challenges ahead.
Something's off. If he's just a regular administrator, this level of dedication is way over the top. Who could this old Intellitron really be?
Maybe Ligus's true identity and motives will surface as we continue to clash with him. Besides, even when facing higher dimensional opponents, we have reliable allies who can lend us a hand. In version 3.5, both the geniuses Herta and Skrulum will become more deeply involved in Amphorius, and with them, our hand in this game grows even stronger. To add another layer of assurance to our journey, Albert here has gathered some intel about Ligus to share with everyone. Let's check it out. During combat, Ligus will switch between two different forms. In his first form, he can generate Titankin for combat while also applying special effects to our allied characters. Characters affected by this special effect will have their ultimates activated, but using an ultimate during this effect will cost massive HP.
When the total number of allies and enemies that appear on the field reaches a certain amount, Ligus will enter his second form. In this second form, black tide creatures will continuously spawn, and Ligus will modify these monsters' parameters to greatly increase their threat level. During this phase, he will continuously enhance his ultimate as time passes. When using the ultimate, Ligus will deal massive distributed damage to all allies.
Oh? Is there any key information to help solve this puzzle?
Of course! If you can make a certain number of allies and enemies leave the field during his second form, it'll accelerate Ligus' switch back to his first form, reducing the threat of his ultimate.
Logic. We need to quickly eliminate black tide creatures to reduce the threat and improve our chances of victory.
Though it's still unclear why we must directly confront the Theoros, knowing your enemy is half the battle. Dux Avis Snoopius, your intel work is impressive.
Oh, thank you for your praise, Your Imperial Majesty. All right, let's take a short break for now, and when we come back, I've got more intel about our two Chrysos heirs seniors. Why is the studio leaking?
Dux Plumpus, if this is your idea of entertainment, it's pretty underwhelming.
Dominic, I got this. Hey!
Thank you, Mr. Albert, for your quick thinking.
Whew. Finally back to normal. Hey, director! This studio needs fixing. What kind of waterproofing is this? Sorry for the embarrassing display, folks. We're on a tight budget here, so please bear with us.
All right, go find Dux Goldweaver and have her allocate some repair funds.
Thank you for your gracious gift, Your Imperial Majesty.
Come to think of it, this Hysilens looks quite different from regular humans. She's got scales, and her belly seems to be transparent?
That's right. Hysilens is the most powerful and beautiful sea siren princess born to Fagusa, the ocean titan. She grew up in the embrace of the ocean.
I see, but why did this beautiful sea siren come ashore? And how did she end up becoming the Knight Commander of the Holy City?
Although the black tide hasn't spread in this cycle, it still surges in the darkest bowels of the world. In other words, the ocean. Fagusa promised the sea sirens that after repelling the black tide, they would throw them an endless feast on land. But in the end, Fagusa fell into silence, and the sea sirens were decimated in the war, leaving Hysilens as the sole survivor. When I first met her, Hysilens was in a complete daze. Her power could scatter armies, yet she no longer knew whom her blade served.
A tragic past. Sounds like prime protagonist material for a novel. Then what happened?
Since that is the case, I will point the way. If she yearns for revelry, I will see it done. All I ask is for her unwavering loyalty, to stand as my sword and banner, and mine alone.
I see. So Lady Cerydra became Lady Hysilens' light.
But can she adapt to life on land as a sea siren?
She did struggle a bit at first, but now she's got the hang of it. She also gained the friendship of my other loyal subjects, such as the previously mentioned Dux Goldweaver, Aglaya.
But rumor has it that Hysilens has never been seen together with little Cypher. I say she deliberately avoids any occasions where Dolus's little kitty is present.
It's only natural for a fish to avoid a cat.
Now then, let's see how Miss Hysilens performs in combat.
As my sword and banner, she fears no combat. When she uses her basic attack, skill, or ultimate in combat, there's a chance to inflict random types of DOT debuffs on enemies.
It seems Lady Hysilens is a perfect match for characters who specialize in DOT effects.
That's right. When using her skill, Hysilens increases damage taken by all enemies and deals damage. When using her ultimate, Hysilens creates a zone on the field and deals damage to all enemies.
Sunlight pours into the shimmering sea, where graceful fish dance in the water. Such is the breathtaking beauty befitting of a sea siren princess.
That's my most beautiful sword. But for enemies, such beauty means deadly danger. Enemies in the zone will have reduced defense and take additional physical DOT from Hysilens whenever they take DOT damage.
Ooh, nothing beats the thrill of a new turn and a screen full of numbers flying off the enemies. Plus, this zone is perfect for the buff Kafka. After all, Kafka's frequency of dealing DOT damage is super frequent now.
After using the technique, Hysilens summons a special dimension that automatically moves forward. Enemies within this dimension will not initiate attacks. When Hysilens actively attacks affected enemies to enter combat, her talent's effect will trigger multiple times, randomly applying DOT debuffs to the enemies.
I just noticed, is Miss Hysilens actually attacking with a violin bow?
Let the enemies slumber within the symphony. For the waves stirred by the Dux Gladiorum's melody are as graceful as they are deadly.
Thank you for the introduction. And now, let us get to know her better. The great ruler who reigned over an age, Cerydra. Cerydra, the great imperator, supreme commander of the holy city, initiator of the first flame chase journey, bearer of Law's core flame, and the key figure in the plan to seize Amphorius's administrative privileges.
Though I am absolutely a monarch, I need no songs of praise. Sweet words are but the daggers of cowards. If you're so eager to play the jester, why not just shut your beak and be the Imperator's pawn instead?
Your way of doing things is quite intimidating. I wonder, what do people usually say about you?
Ambitious and ruthlessly cruel.
The Imperator never fears controversy, nor would she act for the sake of praise. I studied chess since childhood. On the board, only one rule matters: win. I will stop at nothing and pay any price to achieve my goals.
Oh, what exactly do you mean by any price?
It means I won't hesitate, even if victory costs me my king piece. The only thing I want is that sweet checkmate at the end game.
I remember that Aglaia was being trained as the Imperator's successor. That kind of pressure must be immense.
Such pressure is nothing for the Imperator's successor. That girl's tenacity is second to none.
Looks like convincing the Imperator to cooperate will be quite a challenge for the Trailblazer. Could Mr. Albert share some more information to help improve the Trailblazers' chances?
Albert do have some juicy stories about the monarch. For instance, although she was known as the first and last monarch of Akama, she actually came from a city-state that worshipped Lantern.
Born in a foreign land, yet ruling over Akama.
Let me see what records we have here. During the first siege of Akama, the city was breached and faced a devastating crisis. At that time, it was Cerydra who led her army to ensure Akama's safety, sparing the citizens from the ravages of war. Since then, she's been revered as its sovereign ruler, governing over the holy city.
That's right. Cerydra yearns to build Amphorius into a powerful, unified empire that will last for countless generations. That's why she decided to embark on the flame chase. When dealing with her, the Trailblazer might want to approach the conversation by discussing the future of Amphorius. And how would this monarch handle herself when facing enemies? Would you care to enlighten us, Your Imperial Majesty?
I certainly can. As I mentioned before, I've studied chess since childhood, and the extrapolation of chess positions is my way of waging war. My skill can grant special buffs to one designated ally character. When the buffed character uses their basic attack or skill, they'll help me accumulate charge to level up this special buff. After leveling up, the special buff allows the character to duplicate their skill once when using it against enemies.
So the same skill can hit twice.
That's right. Besides normal skills, some special enhanced skills can also be duplicated.
Take a look! Finance Enhanced skill, which requires accumulating 4 stacks of scourge, can be used twice.
In other words, when paired with Professor Anaxagoras, both his skill and extra skill can trigger again.
Sink into insanity! Straight to the soul!
When I use my ultimate, I'll build up charge and deal damage to all enemies.
Now that's battlefield control. It's true that everything is like a game of chess. All about planning and strategy.
Also, when I use my technique, The character who triggers combat will receive the special buff at the start of the next battle. Keep this in mind when planning your battle strategy.
With such a far-sighted commander leading our battles, who wouldn't want to serve under Her Majesty the Empress?
Naturally, mediocrity has no place on the throne. The one who shall lead all of Amphorius can only be, and must be, me.
However, after experiencing Cerydra's story in version 3.5, you might discover that there's more than meets the eye behind this cold imperator. Stay tuned! Now let's take a look at the version 3.5 banners. In version 3.5's first half warp event, Trailblazers can acquire the limited 5-star character Hysilens. The limited 5-star light cone, Why Does the Ocean Sing, will have a boosted drop rate. In the first half, the limited 5-star character Kafka is returning! And at the same time, the limited 5-star light cone, Patience Is All You Need, will become available once again. In version 3.5's second half warp event, Trailblazers can acquire the limited 5-star character Cerydra. The limited 5-star light cone, Epoch Etched in Golden Blood, will have a boosted drop rate. In the second half, the limited 5-star character Silverwolf is returning, while at the same time, the limited 5-star light cone, Incessant Rain, will become available once again. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more shortly. Light calendar 3950. Cerydra returns triumphant from vanquishing the Black Tide. Victory belongs to every citizen, and even more reassuring than the mighty Dromus is the figure of the Imperator.
Mom, why is the Imperator sitting on a bush?
Light calendar 3959. The Imperator shall crown her great new endeavor in her name. A library or a city-state? The answer will soon be revealed.
This will be the greatest salad ever.
Let's add some fish, too.
As you command.
People often say that the Flame Chase Army's undefeated record was thanks to the Imperator's strategies. One afternoon in Light Calendar 3960, we were fortunate enough to witness.
Checkmate.
Why can your chess pieces fly?
Behold my new Dromus Legion. How do you like them, my dear subject?
Welcome back! Now that we're halfway through the feast, it's time to grab some food and fill those bellies. In version 3.5, the Chrysos Maze Grand Restaurant will make its debut. During this event, Trailblazers will team up with Chrysos heirs to run a restaurant in ID's Elysiae.
Running a restaurant with the Chrysos heirs? That sounds familiar. Where have I seen that before?
Weren't we supposed to save the world? What's all this about opening a restaurant?
Actually, it's a story that Cyrene told us.
Oh?
Even though it's just a story, it holds infinite possibilities and will create many beautiful memories. Let old Albert tell you all about it. First, this restaurant's customers are quite special. Our purpose in opening this place is to serve delicious food to the little fairies from the Membran's Maze and bring a new lease of life to this abandoned restaurant. In the restaurant, the Trailblazer needs to take on the role of restaurant manager, run the establishment, and win the approval of fairy customers. Also participate in the regular Membran's Maze food review, earn stars step by step, and ultimately become a 4-star Memshalem restaurant.
All right. Then what's the style of this restaurant? And what dishes do they serve?
Salutations, dear guests! We specialize in authentic ID's Elysiae haute cuisine. Please take a look at our menu, carefully curated by our native-born chef from ID's Elysiae, which only uses local organic ingredients. Today's special is our fresh lettuce salad, made with all natural organic greens and paired with our signature dressing for the crisp, refreshing taste and a smooth, lingering finish. Our chef who prepared and mixed the salad right at your table, offering you the full ceremonial experience.
Salad? Oh, looks good. What else have you got?
We also have the colorful salad and the city salad.
Wait a minute. Why is everything salad?
Well, one reason is that Mr. Finan, one of our head chefs, specializes in salads. And the other reason is the restaurant is still in its early stages, so we're a bit limited on ingredients and supplies. However, as your management level increases, the Trailblazer can unlock more menu items, expand the shop size, and recruit more members. And to meet the customer's demands, the Trailblazer will need to work with everyone to grow various ingredients besides running the restaurant. Our two agricultural experts in Accent Hyacinth and the helpful field fairies will join forces to guide the Trailblazer through the planning process.
It looks like we won't have to worry about ingredients with Anaxa and Hyacinth around.
Leave it to the professionals. One dare say it finally bears the semblance of a contender for 4 Michelin stars.
Of course, having ingredients alone isn't enough. As a restaurant manager, the Trailblazer needs to consider many other aspects. For example, the ingredients you grow should match the restaurant's current recommended dishes to maximize operating profits. Leveling up dishes can enhance quality and increase the average spend per customer. Proper staffing in both the kitchen and dining area is essential to reduce customer wait times and increase table turnover rates. Purchasing specific facilities can also boost the restaurant's reputation and attract more customers. Plus, different ferry customers have different personalities and unique dining preferences. Some ferry customers prefer set meals, while others are competitive eaters doing food reviews who tend to eat a lot more. And some ferry customers try to sneak away without paying.
Oh? Trying to dine and dash? Someone's about to face the judgment of the law.
While running the business, you'll often face unexpected situations that need the Trailblazer's decision-making skills. Running a restaurant isn't exactly a walk in the park. As for what roles the other Chrysosea friends will play in the restaurant, you'll have to discover that for yourself in the game, Trailblazer. All right, after a hearty meal, it's time to get some drinks. In the event old brews and new friends, the Trailblazer will once again show off their skills as a special guest drinksmith at the Dream Jolt Hostelry.
Master drinksmith of Penacony? This little one sure is a jack of all trades. Are you going to mix drinks for our monster friends again this time?
Nope. This time, some familiar friends will be dropping by the lounge. Each friend carries their own little worries, and the Trailblazer can whip up a magical drink to lift their mood. Delicious and healing all in one.
Oh? Which friends will be making an appearance?
Like Dr. Ratio, who came to Penacony to enlighten the masses? Or Director Topaz, who's exhausted from dealing with Penacony's equity transfer? Or maybe that lovely lady from the Stellar Hunters might pay us a visit.
Oh, I see.
What if the Trailblazer messes up and can't mix the right drink?
No big deal. And hey, if you stumble upon a secret recipe, you might just see a whole new side of your friends.
Judging by the Trailblazer's nature, they'll probably have an accidental slip-up.
After serving all the guests, the Trailblazer can invite them back for one more special surprise drink. May this special mixed recipe create unique and unforgettable memories tonight for the Trailblazer and their unexpected guests. That's not all for 3.5, is it, Madam Herta?
That's not all. In version 3.5, I will launch the AI Herta experiment. I digitized portions of my memory and knowledge into data, uploaded them to the space station's encrypted server, and created a digital version of myself. In the Space Station Task Force event, Trailblazers need to train the AI Herta by completing different assignments to obtain assignment rewards.
Training an AI Herta? Hello, Chat Herta.
Oh, don't even bother. Chat Herta has rejected your query, citing insufficient complexity.
Hey, wait a sec. I haven't even asked anything yet.
Chat Herta's already trained on your behavioral patterns. It's just making predictions.
All right. As we wrap up this feast, I've got some after-dinner treats for everyone. First up, our old friend, the Gift of Odyssey.
Nice. Yay! The Planar Fissure and Garden of Plenty events will also return. Complete the challenges to earn double rewards.
Shape of Siren's Stagnant Shadow will also be available, and you can obtain the Ascension material Sea Siren's Torn Fin for ice characters upon completing the challenge.
Additionally, in version 3.5, the feature mentioned in the previous official notice that allows individual voiceover switching for collaboration characters will be launched. Trailblazers will be able to switch interaction, combat, and idle voices from the current voiceover to the original licensed audio.
In other words, you can switch Saber and Archer's interaction and combat voice lines to Japanese while keeping all other characters unchanged.
Nice!
Finally, Honkai Star Rare will also be joining this year's Gamescom! From August 20th to August 24th this year, Honkai Star Rare will greet everyone with a brand new boot style. Trailblazers, come visit us and get your free goodies. Stay tuned to our official social media channels for more details. All right, and with that, it's time for us to bid farewell to this feast. Thanks to all our special guests for being with us. See you all next time. Bye-bye.
Farewell.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye,
See you
everybody.
next time.